So this is why Queensland should have never won Origin in 2022. Now before you Queenslanders get angry, this isn't about the Maroons not deserving the series. It's the fact that they may have had more factors against their favour in any other series, possibly ever. Here's a list of 5 reasons why Queensland should have never won the 2022 State of Origin series. First, let's start with the biggest potential shortcoming that really should have given the Queenslanders no chance. No Cameron Munster. The absence of Mad Dog money really should have given the Queenslanders no hope even before they had stepped foot in Suncorp Stadium before Game 3. The loss of Munster due to COVID-19 was cruel after Cameron was really the state's top 3 players in both Games 1 and 2. His ability to pop up at the right moment was insane, whether it was the footwork or that strip at a crucial time in Game 1, or his support play in Game 2. He was everywhere, and at the conclusion of Game 2, he could have easily been considered the best player in the series. The second reason would have to be the early injuries. In what may be considered one of the greatest games in Origin history, the start of Game 3 was beyond intense, like almost scary with how hard the blokes were running into each other. We saw in the space of 4 minutes the loss of 3 players to HIA, with Collins, Cobbo and Murray all leaving the game with serious head knocks. This meant the Queenslanders were almost a player down for the entirety of Game 3, without a ready replacement, with winger Cobbo being interchanged for Tom Gilbert, forcing Capewell into the centres and Gagai onto the wing, a position that Gagai had rarely played in his career. Even in these circumstances, the Queenslanders just managed to play well, even outside of their regular positions. And the third reason to why the Queenslanders should have really never had a chance are the youngsters. A distinct difference between the two sides would have to be how the Maroons players stood up, even in their first series. Cobbo's moment in Game 1 with his silky footwork and touch down the line. Jeremiah Nanai breaking down the defensive line on that right edge with ease, whilst also providing a consistent aerial threat. Tom Dearden's contribution was immense in Game 3, contributing with a try assist and putting his body on the line with every possible opportunity. The real shining star though was Paddy Carrigan, winning the Wally Lewis medal in his debut series, the first to ever do it. With 100 plus run meters in all 3 games, Paddy Carrigan carried the forward pack off the bench in his first 2 games and started in the final game. The same plaudits really can't be given to the Origin debutants from the Blues. We saw the Blues players crumble under the pressure in big moments. Stephen Crichton making multiple mistakes in big moments. Sifa Talakai dropping the ball in the dying stages of the game. Burton could be said to be the only player that did really stand up as a debutant, but I feel overall the Maroons really found better production from their young stars. The fourth factor of this improbable series win would have to be the disliked men. This category is the disliked players that have received flack for their play, labelled as overrated or not playing up to the stand of their pay packet. Let's start with Ben Hunt, whose career legacy has moments in Game 3 as he provided excellent minutes out of dummy half. Hunt would find the line from behind the line with a 40-20 57 minutes into the play, which turned the momentum of the game on its head. He would also provide a moment that likely redeemed his legacy for many, plucking a cleary kick out of the air, sprinting away for the series-sealing try. How about Val Holmes too? His form seemed gone on his return from the NFL, often heavily criticised for not meeting his high salary expectations, but he has had a career resurgence in 2022, and he was Mr. Consistent in the Origin series, impressive with the boot and finding holes to score tries in Game 1 and 3. It was his hustle that really shone through. In Game 1 he made that big play that served an almost certain try as he scurried back to dive on a loose ball, or this insane save which kept the pressure on the Blues in Game 3. His efforts personify the entire Maroon side, who continued to make miraculous plays throughout the series. The final disliked player that I wanted to mention would have to be DCE, who honestly was great. Already the kingpin of their 2020 series win, DCE was one of the key reasons Queensland won in the 2022 series. His kicking game turned Game 3 on its head as he kicked early in the tackle count, finding the grass with consistency, forcing a tiring Blues side to bring it out of their own end. His Game 1 try was scored at a crucial time, and his disallowed try in Game 3 was one for the ages. Overall, Daly CherryEvans was the consistent leader that Queensland needed throughout the Origin series. And the final point that makes this improbable Queensland win remarkable is Billy Slater. Billy Slater is the bloke that has not coached a game in his life prior to this series, going on record saying he didn't even plan on coaching post-retirement. Slater's interviews pre, during and post-game were honestly inspiring. He continued to come back to the Queensland spirit and drilled in that he had faith in his young group. His selections proved to be excellent, picking Dearden in Game 3, which was a huge risk that paid off. It's one thing to pick a variety of youngsters, but for them to all perform well is another, and a lot of praise must fall back onto Slater, who obviously created an environment that his young squad thrived in. If you watch the final 10 minutes of Origin through the coach cam, you can see Slater barking orders as he arrives to the occasion with immense passion, and it almost looks like he's on the field. It's a stark contrast to Fittler, who appears to be passive, and although there's different varieties of coaching styles and demeanours, Slater just seemed to want it more, and it showed. With this all in just his first series, I honestly worry about the Blues because the Maroons camp have already rallied around Slater in quick time. He was doing this all with a squad that was considered lesser of the two. Truly amazing. Well, that is all for this video. I just want to highlight how improbable this Queensland Maroons win was. I guess it's another year of misery for me and Blues fans, but the series was a spectacle for sure. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, and that is all for now. See you guys soon.